Welcome to Beers and Buckets, the podcast for degenerates like us who like to watch basketball and drink beer. I'm your host, Connor Caldwell, joined by Dowell Harmon. Dowell, how you doing today?
Good. Still in San Diego on vacation. Got to go to an Aztecs game for the first time last night, which is pretty fun. Also, just realizing how distracting it probably is that I do all the hand motions while you intro. So shout out to you for not messing with the intro.
It's all good. We are part of the Basketball Podcast Network, where you can find shows like this one with the latest around the NBA and NCAA. So make sure you check that out. So top news, man. Let's talk about what we probably want to talk about the most, but we're probably going to talk about the least. Still got to talk about it. Christopher Beard, what happened, man? That whole situation seems messed up. What'd you think about it?
It's not a good look for sure. Hard to comment fully until all the details come out. Obviously, it does not happen often, but there are times where domestic stuff can come out like this, and it turns out to be nothing, or next to nothing. There was some dude for the Chiefs got suspended 4 games for locking his girlfriend's vacuum in his car or something. It's very, very strange. And just because the way the law was set up, it got escalated to a domestic thing. I don't know. It was weird. Yeah. Anyways, long story short, it's not a good look from one of the more promising head coaches in college basketball.
Yeah, and we were talking about this off camera too. We pray that it was maybe extended family, maybe a brother-in-law, or maybe someone that can defend themselves a little bit better. The fact that he has a wife and 3 daughters, not a good look. So we're just hoping that, either way, you don't want it to happen at all. But if it's going to happen, let it be something that can be a little bit easier to swallow, as far as he's not beating some girl senseless, Yeah. So we don't know the story, so we can't judge either way, but it's not a good look that they arrested and charged in the same night for what it was. It's not like they're investigating more. Obviously they're investigating more, but the charges are still there. They haven't been dropped yet, so that's not great. And it's definitely affecting Texas as a team. They just had a struggle against Rice last night, and this is Tuesday that we're recording. So, they snuck out the win in overtime, but got to be a huge distraction for the team as well. So it just sucks all around for what was a really promising start to the season for the Longhorns. Yeah. Another thing, Texas taking hit after hit this week. Mike Leach, man, shout out to the Leach family. Prayers up for them. The one-eyed pirate for sure. It's gonna be missed, even though it's a football coach. Still have great respect for Mike Leach and everything there. So definitely sucks that it happened. I was my buddy that goes to Mississippi State, or went to Mississippi State. He's like, hey, a nurse just told me that Mike Leach is in the hospital. It was crazy. The reports saying that he passed, some saying that he didn't. It was all weird, but just sad all around the situation, especially because it was so unexpected. I know he wasn't the healthiest of guys, but the fact that he wasn't even in the off season, they still have the bowl game to play here in Tampa, that sucks, man. That really does suck a lot.
I don't know if this is accurate, but it's the first time a sitting head coach has died while kind of unexpectedly since Skip Prosser did, the former Xavier coach that was at Wake. He was Chris Paul's coach at Wake. That's the last time, and that was almost 20 years ago at this point. Just crazy stuff.
Yeah, all around crazy, but we'll jump to the lighter side of things. Go ahead.
I want one more comment on that. Can we not do the whole I broke this first thing when it refers to people dying? We don't need to try and scoop and announce someone's death before he actually has died.
No, that's not that's not flex. That's not the flex that you think it is. So don't do that. Yeah, no. Huge respect to sidelines Mississippi State for being like, I'm not going to break it. That's not my news to break. I talk about the football team, not this man's life.
Right.
So shout out to him. I don't know who runs that account, but hats off. You did it the right way. And it's still crazy sad all around. But yeah, I agree with you. Let's jump to the lighter side of things, and not so much lighter if you're a Rutgers fan, because they got absolutely robbed against Ohio State last week. Did you watch any of that or see the ending of it?
I did not, so you can fill me in.
So Rutgers hits one of two free throws, so they're up 2, right? They're up 2 points. There's like 4 or 5 seconds left. Ohio State inbounds the ball, and it looks like Rutgers goes ahead and tries to foul them, hoping that they maybe miss. Like, I don't think it was intentional, but they definitely did a foul. Like, whether it's intentional or not, it was a blocking foul. Refs didn't call the foul, but the guy, like, hit him out of bounds, and he definitely stepped out. I forget which player it was. He stepped out, but they didn't call it, and the other player that he ends up passing the ball to was out of bounds, didn't reestablish himself to be inbounds. Got the ball past him, nails a 3, Ohio State wins. That's the end of the game. It was so bad. Both players were out of bounds. It was so bad to the point the Big Ten issued an apology for saying that basically, like, Ohio State was, they were out of bounds and Rutgers should have won. Like, that's when things are bad. You know what I mean? So get that fixed. But Rutgers, like, that sucks because that was on the road. You should have had a win there against a quality team. There have been 2 quality wins in the last couple weeks. So, it sucks for Rutgers, but they're on the up and up. So,
did that affect our picks from last week?
No, we actually. Well, yeah, it did. We ended up hitting on Ohio State. Both of us end up hitting on Ohio State. So,
then never mind. I didn't ask.
All right, let's talk about last week while we're on the subject. So I told you so, Dowell. What did I tell you? What did I tell you?
I don't know. I don't
Virginia Tech over Dayton because Dayton's doo-doo right now. I saw this clip of Dayton returning back after that COVID year in Obi Toppin, and it was like they took like a paper clip that was all mangled and they put it on a stove and it turned back into its form. That's what it was. Yeah.
I don't like this. I don't like this narrative.
Yeah. Also, Sailor's making her podcast appearance. Sorry. But we're just going to keep on rolling. What did you tell us? What did you tell us, Dal?
I picked Duke over Iowa last week. I thought the front court side of Duke and their ability to offensive rebound and get second chance points was going to be big. And it actually ended up being Mark Mitchell that was the star of this. I assumed Filipowski would be just because he has kind of been probably their best player over the course of this early season. But yeah, Mark Mitchell had like 17 or something, and to go along with a pretty sweet Jeremy Roach game, got Duke over the top against Iowa.
I keep on waiting for Duke to just falter a little bit, and they haven't, even though they still don't. I still don't love their offensive approach. They'll still find ways to win. So
it's
the time of a good team.
It's better to learn from a loss than a win kind of deal, and they're doing that, which is smart.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're part of my humble pie, but also St. Mary's, we're moving on. So St. Mary's is the team that I was too low on, and they have a top 10 defense. Look up, and they're really good defensively, and offensively, they're still finding their way, but they still have enough capable scorers that they can win games like they did against San Diego State. So, eating a little bit of humble pie on St. Mary's. What are you taking a slice of?
I'm taking a slice of humble pie on Mississippi State, actually, the basketball team. After we've already talked about the football team, but they have a top 5 defense and 2 top 50 wins already. Honestly, like when I was looking up their team and their season so far, forgot that Chris Jans was the coach. Like, would not have come up with that name.
Yeah, right.
And yeah, they've looked really great. They've really only played 2 teams, but they've beaten both of them. Yeah. So, definitely was too low on Mississippi State. They're looking like a tournament team this year.
Yeah, they definitely do. I agree. I've got my eye on you. Teams that are struggling to play to their expectations. Who do you got your eye on?
I have my eye on a team that I was incredibly high on this offseason. We both were. And that's the Creighton Blue Jays. They have now lost 5 in a row after starting the season 6-0. And I just want to ask the question: why would you decide to lose 5 games in a row? It's not a smart decision.
Why would you do that? Yeah.
Pretty dumb of them to decide to do that. It's bold strategy, but we get to see them play two other good games, one of which we'll talk about later, over the next week, and that's exciting as they start Big East play.
Yeah, I got my eye on Virginia, and this is not they've won games obviously, but they had a close game against James Madison. It just seems like they're leveling out offensively, back to the mean. You know what I mean? I think they start out really hot offensively, and they've kind of just faltered a little bit. And I think that's gonna happen when, I don't know how to put this without sounding like a jerk, but that's gonna happen when you're so one-dimensional on offense, is that teams are gonna make you try and beat them with a 3, and they just don't have the personnel to do that. They never have had the personnel to do that. So, it makes sense. I don't know. It's like stopping the run against a run-heavy teams. Will make you pass. In football, it ends up being that there ends up being a struggle there. So, I just think that teams are kind of figuring out the more film that they get, the easier it is to figure out how to beat a team. Obviously, so. Yeah, let's move on to what happened. And shout out to my guy James Droz, who got banned on TikTok but was back on. Shout out to James Droz.
He's back.
He was banned this morning. I was like, oh man, this sucks. It's the end of the world. And then he's back on. He got unbanned. So I don't know what happened, but he beat him. He beat TikTok. There you go. So teams that got upset according to Ken Palm, the top 50 teams, and there's some this first one we'll talk about a little bit, but there's some that are I'd say if there's 15 points difference between the two, then yeah. So number 18 Illinois scored 85 points, where number 2 Texas scored 78 points in overtime. Texas had that game won, and then they just blew it.
Just gift wrapped, and said, "Here you go, Illinois. I don't want this. You can have it."
Yeah, Longhorns. What happened? And I'm sure that's the least of your concerns now after the week that you've had, but. Yeah. All right. You take the next one.
Next one, Wisconsin. I think this is a game. Did we both get this right last week?
Yeah, we did. No, I think we got this one wrong, actually.
Never mind then. We're not going to talk about it. Nope. Wisconsin went and beat Maryland, number 19 Maryland. Wisconsin, number 42, according to Ken Palm, ended up beating them by 5, 64-59. Just a classic Wisconsin, low-scoring Big Ten basketball game.
Yeah, gross. So number 81, Iona, went to St. Louis and beat St. Louis 84-62.
I think this is the most shocking.
It is, and it kind of went under the radar too, as far as the grand scheme of college basketball. But man, this was huge win for Pitino and company. So, Billikens, what happened?
Actually, let me look at this. 4 assists and 5 turnovers for Yuri Collins. That is no bueno.
Nope.
They just didn't make shots, it looks like. They turned the ball over 17 times.
Iona has a really good defense, though. I'm not going to lie. We'll talk about them in a little bit, but
sure.
Their defense is definitely the best part of their game, for sure.
Yeah. Next, we got Alabama taking down number 1 Houston, 71-65.
In Houston, too.
Yeah, true. I almost said Houston Tigers, but that's not what they are. They're the Cougars. What happened?
Cougars, what happened? Yep. Number 47, Penn State, scored 74 points, where number 12, Illinois, on the other side of the upset, scored 59. Other side. That sucks to take down number 2, Texas, and then lose to 47th, Penn State. But you know what? We've talked about Penn State a lot. They live and die by the 3, and looking by the score and looking at the percentages, they were living by the 3 that night, and they did not falter in that regard. So, yeah, that sucks. Illini, what happened?
Next one is a team that I just talked about I've got my eye on you, and that's the first of 2 appearances they will make on this today. Got got number 98 BYU taking down number 22 Creighton, 83-80. Got beat by the Mormons. Creighton. What happened?
It sucks to lose in a game in regulation where you scored 80 points. That sucks because you're doing the right things offensively. It looks like just can't stop them on defense, I guess. Number 63 Seton Hall takes over number 28 Rutgers, 45-43. So the opposite, where you only score 43 points in 40 minutes. That sucks. So yeah, Rutgers, Silver Knights, what happened? Or Scarlet Knights, what happened at Silver Knights? Scarlet Knights, what happened?
Oh man, that's also just. I'm sorry to anyone that watched that game.
No,
I'm sorry. Yeah. Again, back to back. Got another Creighton game here. They lost 73-71 against the number 42 team, which is the Arizona State Sun Devils. Another one of their close losses. I was just looking over the last 5 games. They have lost by 2 points, 3 points, 10 points, 5 points, and 2 points. So they have had 5 losses in a row, and all 5 of them have come from 10 points or fewer. Just a tough way to get rolling into Big East play, where you start the year off with Marquette. But Creighton, we already have discussed you. But again, what happened?
And I'm going to give an honorable mention to, even though they're not a top 50 team, they're still a top 100 team. Vanderbilt lost to Grambling State, number 236 Grambling State. So that sucks. That sucks. No, the only reason I look at that is because I went and looked up Arizona State while you were talking about that one, and looking at them, Arizona State's a sneaky good team. Number 38 in KenPom now. Their only loss, which is not a good loss, to Texas Southern, 67-66 in overtime. First away game of the season, but since then they've beaten Michigan, Colorado, Stanford, SMU, and Creighton, and VCU as well. So they have some good wins too, and they have an opportunity to get a couple good wins here in the Pac-12. So keep an eye out for the Sun Devils for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. All right, it's time for Shark Tank upsets. This is where each of us will pitch an upset, and the other person will have to either buy a pint, a case, a pony keg, or a keg, or they can be totally out and not buy anything. So, Dowell, what are you pitching today?
Hi, Sharks. Welcome. Thank you for coming. I am going with a trick out of my old bag, picking team that I was very high on last year. Have become less high on them, mostly because I don't live in Charlotte still, which means that I have a lot less exposure to my Richmond friends. But I am going the Spiders of Richmond to take on Clemson. This is in Greenville, South Carolina, so not technically a home game for Clemson, but I mean it would definitely lean that way. From a fan perspective, but Clemson was shooting the ball really hot. They absolutely took Wake to the woodshed in the second half against them. Was that last week?
Yeah.
But Richmond does a great job of defending the 3. They have size to match up with Clemson, especially in the front court, and a ton of experience. So I have got the Spiders taking down Clemson.
Not only are you taking a bag out of your old bag of tricks there with Richmond, but you've also projected or pitched Clemson to lose last week as well in Shark Tank upset. And that ended up hitting with Loyola Chicago. So just for that, I'm buying a keg just to keep the good vibes rolling. But yeah, that's exactly what you did. And I mean, there's nothing when I look at the game prep here for KenPom. Nothing on this makes me say, yeah, Richmond's going to beat Clemson as far as the stats says it, but it's one of those gut feelings. So yeah, I'll take you on that.
Whatever works.
Keg on me. You got it, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Sharks, welcome. So Providence is going to be at home against the Seton Hall Pirates. It's a strength on strength matchup here. Providence offense versus Seton Hall's defense. Except Providence is 5th in the nation for offensive rebounding percentage. And Seton Hall is 223rd in the nation for allowing offensive rebounds. Providence doesn't shoot well from threes, but they don't rely on threes in their point distribution, which is only 22%. So they know they're not great at shooting threes, so they don't even try it as much. And Seton Hall's offense is super ineffective. If you look at the game prep, a lot of red on the Seton Hall offensive side, which doesn't help you on the road. And a rowdy Rhode Island Providence gym. I don't even know the name of their gym, but
it's the Prudential Center.
Yeah, so I think you should buy Providence over Seton Hall. What do you think?
Providence over Seton Hall. You know what? This efficiency for Seton Hall's offense is horrendous.
It's really bad.
Like, if they don't get to the basket, or if they don't get to the free throw line, they do nothing. And it looks like Providence does a really good job of limiting that. So I'm going to go Keg too. I got to reciprocate the Keg buy, and
yes,
I'll go Keg here. Plus, Bryce Hopkins, clearly the best player in this game. So,
yes. I mean, he's amazing.
Really good. Yeah,
he's been really good. I mean, Providence overall has had a decent season, and they've been playing pretty well. Look, I know that if the loss to Miami and St. Louis and TCU, those are 3 tournament teams. Like, they're really good. This is a good Providence team that we didn't really think was going to be that good this year. So all around, good vibes from Providence. But yeah, appreciate the Keg buy. Let's move on. NBA fans, the NBA action is just getting started, and so are the incredible offers at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can make any $5 NBA pregame moneyline bet and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Check this out. Right now, everyone can earn up to 100% boost with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, place a same-game parlay, and combine multiple bets like which team will win, total rebounds, total points scored, and more. With payouts bigger than ever, DraftKings Sportsbook is where I go to bet on the NBA. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now, use promo code TBPN, make any $5 bet this week, and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code TBPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. All right, it's time for the beer review. Dowell, what are you drinking today?
I have a 394 Pale Ale. It is done by the AleSmith Brewing Company in San Diego, California. It is literally called a San Diego style Pale Ale. I don't know exactly what that entails, but got some citrus in here. It's 6% alcohol, and I think I have it written down. 26 IBUs. That's my gut. That's what I had. 3.82 on Untappd, which is pretty good. It's a collaboration with Hall of Famer Tony Gwynn. Do you know why it is a 394 Pale Ale? Why it's called that?
Assuming it's his batting average for his career.
Not career. That would be a crazy career batting average.
I know that's.
It was the highest he ever got, though. He hit 394.
Okay.
Yeah. Here, let me. It's definitely like, it's not quite IPA, but you can definitely taste the hops in there. It's pretty good, though. Yeah, just like a little bit more kick than like a normal beer. It almost like gets its second wave a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
It's pretty good, though.
So what type of citrus is in it, or is it just like a bunch of different citrus fruits?
It just says golden pale ale with bright citrus and tropical fruit notes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, pretty good. I'll think of a comparison while you go.
Sounds good. Christmas time, so I went with a red and like a Christmas looking bottle, even though it's not a Christmas ale or anything like that. But Lexington Brewing and Distilling Company Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Strawberry Ale It's Kentucky ale brewed with strawberries and aged in first use bourbon barrels for at least 6 weeks. So it's 8% ABV, 0 IBUs, and Untapped has it as a 3.55, which is kind of middle of the pack Untapped. So you never know what you're going to get with that kind of rating. So let me give it a try. Okay, this is better than I've had the Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ale before. Better on tap than it is in the bottle, obviously. But out of the bottle, this is pretty good. So I think it'd even be better on tap, obviously. But it's a little easier to drink than the regular Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ale. Like
just a little sweeter.
Yeah, the sweetness from the strawberry definitely makes it a little bit smoother all around. Because it's not as dark, obviously. And so, like the flavors, they mix well together. The oak and the strawberry mix very well together. Keeping with the Kentucky theme, let's go Western Kentucky. Gonna mix as well together. It's gonna beat up on some. It's the Bourbon County. What's it called? Bourbon County beer. Bourbon County is what it says. Bourbon Country. So, just like Louisville is not the team of Bourbon Country anymore. We'll go Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. Also because of the red. They just gotta go with the red. Yeah.
I considered doing Louisville over Western as my Shark Tank upset because I was like, they just have to win a game at some point. Like,
it's gonna be Florida A&M that they'll win.
They would have to.
Yeah. It's sad. It is really sad.
It's not good.
At first I was like, oh yes, this is great. And now I'm just like, dude, you got to get a win sometime.
Come on, y'all.
I feel for Kenny Payne too, but yeah.
Oh man.
What team are you comparing yours to?
I am going to compare mine to Virginia Tech. 2 reasons. 1, the brown, orange,
same Thanksgiving colors. Yeah,
exactly. That was number 1, and 2, I think the hops kind of add a little bit of flair that you wouldn't expect in a pale ale, and that's kind of how I feel about transfer from Wright State Grant Brazil, who has become maybe the Hokies' best player. And, so I think those 2 things together make it very clearly a Virginia Tech-esque beer.
Yeah, no doubt there. All right, man, let's move on then. All right, it's time for throwdown games that we think are going to be good, things that Kim Pom thinks are going to be good. So we're going to talk about it. Last week's results, Revenge of the Dowell came back with a whopping 10. I had 8 picks. There was a couple of them I was like, you know what, I'm going to pick this team just to pick this team. But, missed a couple on them. But overall, you're up 2-1 on the season that we have been keeping the results. So we'll see. I might tie it up this week. We never know. What do you think?
So, we talked about this off air, but I made a spreadsheet because I felt like it was kind of dumb, especially in fantasy football or fantasy football playoffs coming up. And it's like the top scorer in one of my leagues with my friends is not even going to make the playoffs because he just got screwed by matchups and stuff. So I felt like I have won both weeks now that I've won. I've won 10-8. You won the week before 13-9. So yeah, I have won 2 of the 3 weeks that we have done. But if you look at just our ability to pick games and that only, we are tied.
Yeah.
So this is a big week.
Big week, huge week. So let's not waste any more time to talk about it. It's Tuesday that we're recording. So tonight, number 26 Memphis takes on number 10 Alabama at 9 p.m. in Tuscaloosa. What do you think, Dowell?
So I hate that you're good at doing stuff because I went to try and pick a different in this game, and I was looking at the Ken Pom stuff, and every single thing I noticed were things that you had already had in the notes. And I was like, nah. So I'm going Bama here. They do a really, really good job at offensive rebounding, and Memphis doesn't. I'll let you share your other points so that I don't steal all your...
Yeah, Memphis, I'm going Bama as well. Memphis doesn't shoot well from deep, and you need that on the road in an upset game. So, And also, like, the depth for Memphis is not great at all. So that doesn't help either, especially on the road. You're going to get some tic-tacky fouls. So what do you think?
And they have Brandon Miller, who is – I love Kendrick Davis, but Brandon Miller is the best player in this game. So
Yeah, very true. So that's really the only good game on tonight. So tomorrow, Wednesday night, 12:14, number 8 UCLA takes on number 17 Maryland in College Park at 9 p.m. So Maryland, I have Maryland winning. It's a home game for them. They take care of the ball. They make opposing offenses take really tough shots. So I like that for them at home.
yeah, I can see that. I think UCLA is good at making tough shots is one thing. And
That's true.
I think Amy Hawkes and the UCLA Bruins they have a better offense, like by ratings wise, than Maryland does. So they have the best unit in this game. So I'm gonna go UCLA. Especially, it makes me kind of worried to pick a true road game against a top team like this. But I like that if this were like a neutral site game, I think UCLA would be favored. So I'm gonna go UCLA there.
Yep. Another game tomorrow night. Number 65 UCF is traveling to Oxford, Mississippi, take on Ole Miss at 7:30 p.m. What do you think?
I'm gonna go Ole Miss here. They have the depth advantage. I think that's something that is super, super notable for this. Ole Miss goes like 9, 10, 11 deep, which I think helps in a game like this. They're home team, and they do a really, really good job of getting offensive rebounds and getting second chance points. So I'm going to go Ole Miss here.
Yeah, I'm going to go UCF here. The Knights shoot really well from deep, and they get a lot of offensive rebounds, second chance points there. Defense is 32nd in the nation, so defense travels like we talk about. I think they have an opportunity to pull off a little upset here, not too big of an upset, but just enough to kind of get things right. They played Miami really tough too, so Miami's a good team. I think they have what it takes. So that's it for Wednesday. There's no Thursday games that were worth putting on here. Very weak schedule, so spend time with your family or something. Go see a movie. Go see Avatar. There you go. There's a
do not go see Avatar. Go see literally any movie but Avatar.
Let me know how you really feel about Avatar.
The only reason that you should go see Avatar is because they're doing an Oppenheimer special look in IMAX.
True. You watch Avatar for the effects. That's what you watch it for. You don't watch it for the story.
Don't watch
cinematic. You watch it for the effects. But I'm with you. I think Avatar is overrated. But
I hate that movie so much.
Worth going to see in theaters. Not worth watching any other time, in my opinion. But anyways, Friday, 12:16, number 28 Creighton traveling to Milwaukee, Wisconsin at Fiserv Arena or Forum to take on number 31 Marquette. 8:30 p.m. So I'm going Marquette. Creighton seems to be reeling. This is a home game for Marquette, and they have a very effective offense in which Creighton, their struggle is their defense, hands down. So if they can stop Marquette, then obviously I like their chances. But at the same time, this is a good opportunity, get a stop, get a win here for Creighton. So I could see either way. What do you think?
This is I almost picked Louisville for my Shark Tank upset. Creighton cannot lose 6 games in a row. They can't go from 6-0 to 6-6.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they're going to do it, but they need to do it. So I'm picking.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you, but this seems like one of the Marquette has had some good wins this season. They just seem like a good team.
I'm not confident in this pick at all. This is simply they literally can't lose this.
Yeah, so. It's just it's got to happen. It has to end somewhere. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't care how it happens.
All right, that's the only good game for Friday night. So Saturday, 12:17, there's 50 good games. We could have put a bunch more on here for Saturday, but we stuck with the ones that we have because we're going to spend a lot of time here on Saturday. So number 3 Tennessee travels to Tucson, Arizona to take on number 12 Arizona at 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. What do you think?
This is matchup 1 of 3 that we're going to talk about that are the SEC takes on the West Coast.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to lean Arizona here. It's a home game. They're really good. I like the size that they have to match up against Tennessee. And Yeah, I mean, I think that home game, like, it's going to be at 10:30 Eastern, which could throw Tennessee off. So I'm going to go Arizona in a close one here.
Yeah, I'm going Tennessee. I think Utah played Arizona very physical, very tough, made them really uncomfortable shooting. I think Tennessee has a better defense than Utah, and we saw what Utah did to Arizona. Tennessee's offense needs work, but so does Arizona's defense. So it's not like it's like a strength on weakness there or a weakness on strength. It's kind of like strength on strength here. And then, like we always say, defense travels. So I think even if Tennessee comes out cold offensively, their defense is that good that they can limit what Arizona does on the offensive end. So, yeah, I'm going to go Tennessee here. At 5:30 p.m. in Madison Square Garden, number 8 UCLA takes on number 6 Kentucky. And call me a hater, call me whatever, but I don't like this matchup for Kentucky, and I'm actually going UCLA. This is the first time I think I've ever picked Kentucky to lose a game, but I'm going to spin cycle. I mean, since we've done this podcast and previewed Kentucky games, yeah. But spin cycle here, if Kentucky wins, is because I picked UCLA to win. So, like, it's a can't lose situation here for me, except for obviously when Kentucky loses, if Kentucky loses. But anyways, Kentucky's offensive identity is still struggling to play to their full potential. It feels like, despite what the stats say, the eye test, they don't pass the eye test there. And Jaime Jaquez is going to be a defensive nightmare for Jacob Toppin. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough game. Like I said, I'll happily eat crow. Kentucky needs this to be a repeat of last year's CBS Sports Classic matchup against UNC. So if Kentucky comes out and just puts up 30 on them or 20 on them, by all means, like, would love for that to happen. I just don't see Kentucky's offense doing that at this moment because they couldn't do that against like a Yale team last week. So
yeah, I'm going to go Kentucky mostly just to be contrarian. I also think this is a game where Oscar Tshiebwe is going to eat, and he will win us this game. I mean, Adembona has been fine, but it's not a overly great big man. And the rest of their front court is very small. I mean, like, Jaime Jaquez plays the 4 pretty much for them.
Yeah.
So I think this is a huge game for Oscar. I think he's what really kind of races the tide on this Kentucky team and lets Casey Wallace, whoever wants to hit threes in this game, hit some threes.
I have no problem with that. I just don't want them to force feed Oscar when he clearly doesn't have it going. I hate when that happens. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, if it's not working, move on to your next option. Like, don't try and keep forcing that issue because it's not building confidence for him. But yeah. All right. So 1:00, number 11 Gonzaga takes on number 10 Alabama in Birmingham. So a Legacy Arena. So it's not there in Tuscaloosa, but it's basically a home game for Alabama, obviously.
No, it doesn't count. Though, when you have games that aren't at the arena, it's obviously an away game for the home team.
Yeah. Okay.
Gonzaga fans are dumb.
I know. It's a semi-away game, technically, according to Ken Pom.
Yeah. Okay.
So, what do you think?
Okay, so I wrote Gonzaga down, but now that, not to play spoiler, but you have Gonzaga too, I kind of want to flip it just because, but I do think Gonzaga is going to win, so I guess I'll stick with them.
Go with what you think is going to happen. Don't do stuff just to, we should be doing, if we tie on the week, we tie on the week. Who cares?
That's
you know fair. What I mean? I'd rather be right than just to be different, With that said, I'm going with Gonzaga. They have the better offense. I don't think anybody on Alabama can stop Drew Timme here. And Alabama doesn't force a lot of turnovers, and that's something that, Kentucky was able to do against Gonzaga, and they still wipe the floor with Kentucky, So, imagine if they take care of the ball, So that's where I stand with Gonzaga here. I think they win this one. I think it'll be a closer game, but overall, I still think Gonzaga pulls out the win in the semi-away game for them. So,
I will say, I'm going through their thing again. The one thing I will say is I really like Alabama's ability to use their bench in this game.
The deep.
They're 56th in bench minutes compared to Gonzaga, who is 310th. So if you can get one of their guys in foul trouble or get them kind of thrown off, they have not really shown the ability to thrive there. So
Yeah.
that is, if Alabama does win this game, that might be the bench minutes might be a huge factor.
Very true. Yeah. So 2 p.m. in Charlottesville, Virginia. Number 2 Houston takes on number 9 Virginia. I got Houston in this one. Houston has the best defense in this matchup. They take care of the ball. They get a lot of offensive rebounds. And Virginia's offense is balancing out to the meat like we were talking about earlier. So I think Houston will take advantage of Virginia's offense not having the strongest identity right now.
Yeah, and I mean, we like to talk about Virginia's defense, but Virginia's defense is 16th in the country right now. Like, so it's really good, but it isn't one of those, it isn't the like kind of quintessential Virginia defenses that you think of that is just lights out and no one can score on them. Granted, it obviously is very difficult to score on them, but Houston's defense is what we kind of usually think of in terms of the dominance that Virginia's defense had a couple of years ago. So I like Houston as well. Yeah.
Number 19, Ohio State is taking on number 25, North Carolina at 3 p.m. in Madison Square Garden. What do you think, Dowell?
Ohio State has better offense. North Carolina is bad. Not really, but we're going to exaggerate a little bit and say they're bad. I don't know how you can't pick Ohio State in this.
Yeah, neither team forces a lot of turnovers, and Ohio State's offense is better, and Ohio State's deeper. We talked about the depth being an issue for North Carolina. It's going to come into factor here, so give me Ohio State as well. Number 16, Indiana is going to Lawrence, Kansas, take on number 7, Kansas. The Jayhawks at noon. I'm going Kansas. They have more talent. This is a home game for them. And like last week, I had them losing to Missouri. It wasn't even close. Kansas is just getting better and better. They saw your fraud alert, and they're just getting better. They're more effective offense and defense, too.
You're welcome. You're welcome. This is another one that I tried to like finagle my way into picking different from you.
Same here.
And I was like, they had Trace Jackson Davis was kind of all I could come up with for Indiana, and I was like, this means I need to pick Kansas.
Yeah. No,
especially at home too. Like,
yeah.
That's
I tried to swing it.
Advantage.
Yeah, I tried to swing it and find something to pick in Indiana because I thought you would pick Kansas, and I was like, yeah, there's no way. There's no way I can. There's no way. Like, it can happen. I just don't know how they do it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no clear like formula for how it happens.
Yeah. All right, Sunday the 18th, number 18 Auburn taking on number 70 USC in Los Angeles at Galen Center. So not Palm Pavilion or whatever it's called. I'm going USC here. This is a battle of the defenses. USC has the length advantage here, so I like that for them. Neither team shoots well from deep. USC has the better 2 foul participation percentage, which you need that for a defensive battle game like this is going to be. And it's a semi-home game for USC here. So, or no, it's a home game. I was thinking Palm Pavilion. That's Palm Pavilion. That's UCLA. So yeah, this is a home game for USC. So, Auburn, and we know they're frauds. They've only shown it in one game. So, yeah.
I love your hate for Auburn. It never like ceases to make me laugh. I'm going to go Auburn here. I think they have the depth and the experience to really. Dominate is a strong word, but to win this matchup. Plus, I think their front court is definitely better than USC's. And even though USC has the length advantage, I think a lot of that comes from the guards being taller than Auburn's guards. The front courts actually match up pretty well in terms of length. And Johnny Broome and co have been just incredible this year. So I'm going to go Auburn. Hopefully the Penguin doesn't like shoot them out of the game completely. That would be good content.
Or Wendell Green. One of those. Wendell Green will pull up from the logo and be nowhere close, and he'll still just keep firing from the logo. It's insane to me. I mean, I get heat checks, but like you got to be hitting them consistently to do that.
The man heat checks before he is on the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right, number 58, Iona is taking on number 81, New Mexico in Albuquerque in the pit at 6:30 p.m. So this is, if you've ever seen New Girl, an early New Girl when Rob Riggle's on, and it's his like cousin, Schmidt's cousin. They fight for the Schmidt name. This is the battle of the Patinos. They're fighting to be the one true Patino. The other one will have to either go as Rick or Richard. And also New Mexico, one of the last unbeaten teams remaining. So here we go. What do you think, Dal?
Yeah, I got Iona. They're coming off a big win against Creighton, I mentioned earlier. And as much as I'd love to pick New Mexico here, I don't know. I just don't. I trust the tutelage of the older Patino to come out over the Sun.
Yeah, I put it in my thing. Pops has a few tricks up his sleeve. Like he didn't show Richard the full bag. He just kind of gave him some samples there. He's gonna pull something out. But Iona has the better defense, like I said. They're like a top 20 defense in the nation right now. New Mexico struggles to defend the three, and 3 of Iona's starters are shooting 41% or better from 3-point, which is insane. So good for Iona. He's going to be known as Patino, and little Patino is going to be known as Richard from now on if Iona wins. So
also, yeah. I said win over Creighton. I meant win over St. Louis for Iona.
Yeah.
But I actually like that Iona has. They played Princeton on Tuesday, which is another game that I almost picked for my upset loss. But I like that they will have a game that is like relatively serious before this New Mexico game. It's a Tuesday to Sunday gap. So nice to have that midweek game to kind of focus you in a little bit. New Mexico played yesterday on Monday and doesn't play again until Sunday. So they have a little bit of time off too, which can kind of throw off
that rhythm there. Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps things up for Throwdown games. All right, it's time for last call. As we wrap things up, what do you think, Dal?
So, listeners, you all know how much we love KenPom, and we talk about KenPom all the time. One thing that I think is just something to be, transparent about with KenPom that is both good and bad. There are merits to both, so it just depends on what you're looking for. But keep in mind that KenPom, for the majority of the year, has baked in at least some of the preseason expectations that it came in with. It has historical data that it works into that. I don't know everything that goes into their preseason rankings, but it is still kind of to avoid making a data set based on an incredibly small sample size as the season starts. It does bake in some historical numbers. There's another website called Bart Torvik that is a similar website to KenPom. It has a ranking system. It has an offensive and defensive efficiency. But if you hear me talk about that, if you hear us talk about it, if you hear someone else talk about it, that is, and they're quoting the Torvik rankings, that is from this website, and it is only looking at this year. So if you are wanting to get kind of a truer sense of, where does my team stand? The Torvik rankings is something that you can definitely use. For an example, just to show on the Kentucky side, Kentucky on KenPom has the 16th best offense right now and the 8th best defense. But on the Torvik rankings, they're 35th in offense and 21st on defense. A lot of the difference there is probably going to be your preseason expectations and preseason rankings. So just another, I really dislike, especially with analytics, this happens where it's like, this certain thing didn't fit my narrative or didn't make any sense. So I'm going to write off analytics or the data as a whole. And this is a case, that shouldn't be the case really ever, because you can take stuff with a grain of salt. But the kind of melding these two to look at the teams that we're looking at is something that is definitely worth doing. So yeah, that was a little bit long, but
no, it's perfect. I kind of have a similar thought. Don't twist stats to prove narratives or agendas. Just take stats for what they are, as they're not variables. They're just straight up points, and you can't twist them to prove anything one way or Dal, you and I always try and, when we're picking throwdown game matchups, we try and find a stat to push a narrative. just because it's kind of more fun to do that way. But ultimately, like, there's no way, like we said earlier, there's no way that we can say that right now Creighton is going to beat Marquette other than they can't lose, 6 in a row. Like, that's the only thing. Like, statistically, there's no point that we can say, oh, well, they have more length here or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. So, just like in general, though, like, especially when it comes to like football and ranking quarterbacks and stuff, because like I know that's with transfers and it's a hot topic right now. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you need a little bit of both statistics and eye test, and also just like, it doesn't matter what you want, because whatever the coach of the school is that you have, like, you're a fan for, is going to pick who they want anyways. So it really, like, it doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, all these arguments that we end up getting online and hot takes and stuff like that, like, it's all stupid and dumb anyways. And it's just for entertainment. So if you're gonna do it, don't burn bridges and just have fun with it. Like, and if you are gonna push agendas and use stats, pull the most ridiculous stuff. Like, that's what I want to see. I don't want to see like the close stuff. I want to see the most ridiculous stuff ever.
Make it incredibly evident that you are strictly pulling, like, cherry picking stats.
Yes, absolutely. That would be the funniest thing ever. I will be an instant fan, 100%. So definitely make it like cherry pick stats to be like, oh yeah, well, Ed Cooley is, 55-3 in games where he's had a lead by 2 points in the beginning of the game or something like that. Like, so pull something ridiculous. So like the Providence is 100 out of 100 in games where they play on was it St. Patrick's Day or something like that? Because that's got to be accurate with how lucky Ed Cooley is at Providence. But yeah, anyways, just do that. So this has been a fun episode. We're going to move on here and end the episode. So if you are on TikTok or Instagram, go ahead and follow us at Beers and Buckets Pod. We are part of the Basketball Podcast Network. Like I said, you can follow them at TBPM or HoopsPod.net. So check them out on Twitter for other shows like this one. And you can follow other NBA and NCAA teams. And then download DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use promo code TBPN. Make sure you do that to get you only have to bet $5 and you could get $200 in free bets if your team wins. It doesn't even have to be like, it could be a total wash, and it could be like a total game that you would be Gonzaga versus middle Iowa State or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, go ahead and do that so that way you can win free money. And this has been a fun episode, Dal. Appreciate you coming on, man. This has been fantastic.
Yes, sir.
Yep. And we'll be back next week. We'll take a week off for Christmas, then we come back the following week. So we'll talk a little bit more loaded episode next week so we can preview a couple other games for the following week. But this has been fantastic. This has been the bottom line, because Connor said so. You guys have a fantastic week.
Boom.